All right, let's dive in. Today, we are cracking the code on all those acronyms you hear flying around the workplace. You know the ones: CRM, SLA. If those sound like a totally foreign language, don't worry, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's get to it. I mean, we've all been there, right? You're sitting in a meeting and suddenly it's just this storm of letters. CRM, SLA, ERP. They just fly right over your head. It really can feel like you're on the outside of some secret club trying to figure out a code that literally everyone else seems to know. Well, today, we're giving you the secret handshake. This is your official invitation inside the club. We're not just going to list off a bunch of definitions. By the end of this, you'll have the key. You'll understand the language of business and technology, for real. So here's our game plan. First, we'll hit the basics. What is IT anyway? Then we'll meet the leaders, the digital captains of the ship. After that, we'll check out the software that actually runs the business, see how all this stuff gets built, and figure out how we know if it's even working. And then we'll tie it all together. Simple as that. Okay, first things first, let's get our bearings in what can feel like an acronym jungle. We're going to start with the absolute foundation, the digital nervous system of a company. All right, let's start with the big one, IT, information technology. Now, this is so much more than just the help desk you call when your laptop acts up. Think of IT as the entire engineering crew for a huge factory. These are the folks who design, build, and maintain everything: the assembly lines, the power grid, all the systems that make the whole operation actually work. It is the blueprint for everything else. Okay, so we've got our factory blueprint. Now, let's meet the two captains who are actually in charge of the company's tech strategy. Their titles sound kind of similar, but trust me, what they do is critically different. So on one side, you've got the CIO, the Chief Information Officer. This person is focused inward. Their whole job is making sure the company's internal tech runs like a well-oiled machine. And on the other side, you've got the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer. This person is focused outward. They're all about developing the new technology that becomes the products you actually sell to customers. And here is where it all clicks into place. Back in our factory, the CIO is like the general manager of the factory floor, totally focused on efficiency, on reducing costs. The CTO? That's your head of R&D, focused on innovation, on creating new ways to bring in revenue. You want to know the easiest way to remember it? It's this: one saves money, the other makes money. All right, so we've met the leaders. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty and look at the actual digital machinery they're in charge of. The software that makes our whole digital factory run day to day. First on the list is the CRM, which stands for Customer Relationship Management. This is basically the company's front door. I love this analogy. Think of it like the host and the waitstaff at your favorite restaurant. The ones you know your name, your favorite table, what you always order. A CRM does that, but digitally. It manages all the interactions with customers to keep them happy, build loyalty, and ultimately drive sales. So while that CRM is out front, taking care of the customers, you've got the ERP in the back. That's Enterprise Resource Planning. This is the brain of the whole operation. In our restaurant, this is the kitchen manager, the supply team. They're the ones handling inventory, ordering new ingredients, managing the finances. They make sure the kitchen can actually cook what the waitstaff just promised. And hey, a great restaurant needs a great team, right? Well, that's where the HRIS comes in, the Human Resources Information System. This is the software that manages all the people stuff: hiring, payroll, employee records, for everyone from the host all the way to the kitchen manager. Okay, so here's why this is so important. These systems cannot live on their own little islands. Think about it. A customer places an order through the CRM. That data has to flow instantly and automatically to the ERP. The ERP then checks if the item's in stock, tells the warehouse to ship it, and gets the billing process started. If that connection breaks, you've got total chaos. You're selling stuff you don't even have. Okay, so we've got our leaders, we've got our core software systems, but how does new technology, actually get built? This is where we get to the modern assembly line for software. This is where you're going to hear the word DevOps a lot. It stands for development and operations. And really, it's more of a philosophy than anything else. It's all about breaking down the old walls between the team that builds the software, the developers, and the team that runs it, operations. Instead of two separate siloed teams, think of it as one big unified kitchen team. The chefs who create the recipe also help cook and serve the food. Everyone works together to get things out the door faster and with way fewer mistakes. But look, speed is totally useless if what you're making is garbage. And that is where QA, or quality assurance, is absolutely crucial. This is the inspector in our kitchen. You know, the person who tastes every single dish before it goes out to a customer. And QA isn't just some final check at the very end. No, it's a process that happens the whole way through, making sure that all the stuff you're building so fast with DevOps is actually good, reliable, and high quality. All right, we've built our systems, we've built our products. So, how do we know if any of it is any good? How do we know if we're winning? Let's talk about how we keep score. This is where you hear about KPIs, or key performance indicators. A KPI is an internal measurement. It's for us. Think of it like the scorecard a basketball coach uses during practice. They're tracking stats like free throw percentage, number of turnovers, stuff that shows how the team is performing behind the scenes so they know what to work on before the big game. Now, an SLA is totally different. A service level agreement is an external promise you make to your customer. It's a formal contract, and the best analogy, honestly, is the classic 30 minutes or it's free pizza guarantee. It is a public binding promise, and if you break it, there are real consequences. So you've got your internal scorecard, your KPIs, and your external promises, your SLAs. But what happens when those two things don't line up? Well, that leads to this really interesting problem that has a great name. It's called the watermelon effect. Picture a watermelon, right? On the outside, it's all green. Everything looks good. All your internal KPIs are green. System uptime is at 99.9%. Support tickets are getting closed in record time. From the inside, you look like rock stars. But when the customer cuts it open, the inside is red. The customer experience is a mess. They're unhappy. And the lesson is so important. Your internal metrics mean absolutely nothing if the customer isn't happy. Okay, let's take a deep breath and put all these pieces back together. We're going to look at the whole shebang, the complete blueprint for a digital business. And here it is, all on one page. IT is the digital nervous system. The CIO and CTO are the leaders. The CRM and ERP are the engines that run the business. And they're built using DevOps and QA. And we measure all of it with internal KPIs, making sure we're hitting our external SLAs. See, it's not just a random list of acronyms. It's a connected system where every piece has a job. So there you have it. You don't need the secret handshake anymore because now you have the blueprint. You can speak the language. So the only real question left is, what part of this digital business are you going to build?